Hi, I'm Miss Van Loan, and in this video, we're going to complete Module 4, Lesson 1, Independent Practice. Remember, I recommend using your math notebook and using your paper the normal way, which is called portrait. Please use a pencil, either number 2 or mechanical, and have an eraser handy. For the purposes of this video, I will be using a blank sheet of white paper, and it will be in the landscape orientation. That is because it works better for the video camera. I'm also going to be using pen because it shows up better on camera. All right, let's get started. Module 4, Lesson 1, Independent Practice. Name. And in this lesson, we're going to be talking about ratios. You already know that a ratio is a comparison. You already know that ratios can be fractions, decimals, or percents. A fraction can be like 1/2, 1/4, 378 over 1012. It could even be an improper fraction where we have a larger number on top and a smaller number on bottom. It could be a mixed number like 1 and 1/2. Decimals. Decimals can be repeating, like how 1/3 turns into 0.3 repeating, or they can end, like how 1/2 can turn into 0.5 and it just stops. There are also irrational decimals, but we're looking at ratios, which are rational. So we're just going to skip that one for now. Remember, an irrational decimal does not repeat and also doesn't end. It's like pi, it just goes on forever. And a percent. Remember, a percent is always out of 100. So 78% is equal to 78/100ths. To find a percent, you just take the top number divided by the bottom number. Like 1/2 is equal to 0.5, and then move the decimal place over twice as if you're multiplying by 100, and then you'll get the percent. So let's add another type of ratio here that I think everyone is familiar with. And normally we just call these ratios. I know, it's weird that in the category of ratios, we have fractions, decimals, percents, and ratios. So it's kind of hard to know what we're talking about. And it really just means that you need to look at the problem, look at the context of what is being said to figure out which one they're talking about. But this one's really easy, I promise you. It's kind of like in sports where the home team and the away team have scores. Let's say the home team has 14 points and the away team has 7 points. You're going to write that as a comparison, as a ratio of 14/7. If we want to turn this into a fraction, usually we would say how many total points were scored and then how many out of the total points. So if there's 14 scored by the home team and 7 scored by the away team, that would mean 21 total points. So the home team would have scored 14 out of 21 points. Or if we converted that into a decimal, that would be 2/3, because we can simplify that. And that would mean that it's 0.6 repeating. And if we then multiplied by 100 and did that, we can turn that into a percent of 67% if I round up the next 6. So the home team scored 67% of the points in this game. All right, so that's kind of an overall introduction. I feel like you guys needed that in order to look at these problems. So let's actually get started now. Number 1, if a dog runs 3/5 of a mile in 1/15 of an hour, what is its rate in miles per hour? So the first thing is that we are looking for a rate in miles per, remember the fraction line is a per hour. So we are looking for miles per hour. So when we write the information to solve it, we're going to put the number of miles, which is 3/5, and then we'll put the per line, per how much of an hour? 1/15 of an hour. And now we just have a superfraction. You guys know how to solve superfractions. You remember this, right? What do? Okay, we rewrite this as 3/5 divided by 1/15, and then we keep, change, flip. So this becomes 3/5, I almost flipped the wrong one, 3/5 times 15/1. And now we'll just multiply straight across. 3 times 15 is 45. If you remember from my other video, 2 15s is 30, so another 15 would get us to 45. And then that's over 5, because 5 times 1 is 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9, and then we had miles per hour. So that was miles, and there's a couple ways you could write this. You could say per 1 hour, or because miles per hour is a ratio or a rate that we use all the time, we just write 9 mph because we use that a lot in the United States. Other places might use kph instead of mph because they use kilometers per hour. And I'm going to go ahead and say most of the world would have kilometers per hour. All right, let's do number 2. A shopper paid 3/5 of a dollar for 5/16 of a pound of nails. What is the rate in dollars per pound? So write down dollars per pound because that's what we want. We're looking for dollars per pound. This is important in case the question is written backwards. So where it's asking what is the rate in dollars per pound, that's what we're going to look for. So we're going to set up our fraction that way. So 3/5 of a dollar. What would 3/5 of a dollar be? Well, a dollar divided by 5 is 20 cents. So if you have 3 sets of 20 cents, what do you have? Okay, you have 60 cents. Well, we're looking at superfractions here, so they just gave it to us as a fraction. But we could have said 60 cents. 3/5 of a dollar for 5/16 of a pound of nails. LB is pound. So now we're going to solve this. We write the top fraction, 3/5 divided by 5/16. We keep, change, flip. So this is now 3/5 times 16/5. And now we will multiply. Okay, do you remember that 3 times 15 was 45? So 3 times 16 is going to be 3 more. And it'll be 48. If you're skeptical, go ahead and pause this and do the math on your own. Multiply that out. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25. So we have $48 for every 25 pounds. Let's go ahead and take our calculator and figure out what that equals so that we can get an actual dollar amount as a decimal. So we'll do 48 divided by 25, and that will equal 1.92. So $1.92, $1.92 per pound, PERLB. You could write out pound if you want, POUND, but LB is the shortcut. So, and I can't explain why. I think it has something to do with Latin, maybe? I don't know. If you're very curious, you can Google it. I just don't have time in the video to go look it up. Okay, so $1.92 per pound. So when we divided that, we figured out what the dollar would be per 1 pound. We could have put it like this: $1.92 for 1 pound. But we normally don't say the per 1 pound, we just write per pound. Let's do number 3. If a track athlete runs 1/12 of a mile in 1/60th of an hour, what is the rate in miles per hour? Okay, so once again, write down what we want: miles per hour. And then let's go ahead and plug in the information. 1/12 of a mile per 1/60th of an hour. And now let's solve that. So this is 1/12 divided by 1/60th. Keep, change, flip. So 1/12 times 60 over 1. And I didn't do the cross canceling in number 1, but I could have. So let's do cross canceling now. I can pull a 6 out of the 12, and I would have a 2 left over. If I pull a 6 out of 60, I'll have a 10 left over. And both of those are still divisible by 2. So I can actually pull a 12 out of both of these. So we'll divide by 12 and get 1. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So now I have, if I rewrite that, 1 over 1 times 5 over 1. So that's just 5. And then it was miles per hour. That's how we set it up, miles per hour. So 5 miles per 1 hour. And again, we just shorten it to MPH. Okay, let's do number 4. A shopper paid 11/50ths of a dollar for 1/8 of a pound of lettuce. What is the rate in dollars per pound? So dollars per pound. So it was 11/50ths of a dollar for every 1/8 of a pound for this lettuce. So let's rewrite it and solve. 11/50ths divided by 1/8. Keep, change, flip. 11/50ths times 8 over 1. And I can pull out a 2 from each of these. So that'll be 25, and that'll be 4. So 11 times 4 is 44. 25 times 1 is 25. And now I can pull out my calculator and enter this to figure out what the actual dollar is with decimal. 44 divided by 25 equals 1.76. So this is dollars for every 1 pound. So we'll just say $1.76 per LB, per 1 pound. A quick side note. When we solved this, we found something called the unit rate. And you'll need to know this for later in this unit, so just bear with me real quick. So a unit rate is the amount of the first, we'll just say item, amount of the first item divided by 1 of the second item, or the amount of the first item per every 1 of the second item. So when we solved every single one of these, we got the answer as per 1 of something. And that, my friends, is the unit rate, because a unit is just 1, and so we get the rate for every 1 of the second item, the one that's on the bottom, the amount of the first one per 1 of the second one. That's the unit rate. All right, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day.